I'm going to do a quick demo in Mannequin retopo for those of you who want to get started on that before next class, which is frankly something I recommend strongly if you are hoping to stay on track with this project. So you can see I've got my Mannequin sculpt right here, retopo flow, active, and I'm going to be approaching this, at least to start, in a manner similar to how we started with the tree, which is we're going to establish, or I'm going to establish some key face loops using the contours tool. So over here, I'm going to actually, I mentioned this, I think, in class, since this is a symmetrical model, I'm going to go to here to the symmetry options, turn on X. Okay. So now that I've got that set, I'm going to, again, use contours, and I think I'm going to start near the top of the thigh, and I'm going to cut across right there. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 16. Why not? And so similar to how we worked with the branches of the trunk, we can actually just kind of work our way down the legs. Now you can get a little bit fancier if you feel like it with some of the parts like the knees, but I'm just going to keep it simple. Stop, I think, around the... Okay. There's that. Now I'm going to go back up here to the top one. I'm actually going to go ahead and extend this up a little bit. There we go. And then over here, actually I'm going to stop that for a second and do the similar thing for the arms. Again, tight over here. Probably doing 16 in this case. So maybe I'll go down to 12. I'll try that out. And again, I work my way down the arms. Again, go to the wrist. So pretty fast. Great for contours. Now, if you want, you can even do a similar kind of thing with the torso. I'm going to wait on that for a second. I'm going to see about first sort of attaching the kind of pelvic area and the butt. All right, so over here, I'm going to switch over to poly pen, and I'm going to kind of get in tight here into this sort of kind of crotch area. And I'm just going to kind of go, you can see right up and in there, and get those center verts just sitting right on that center symmetry line. Okay, okay, and I'm going to do the next thing right up here, and cut it right across there. Yeah, I'm going to grab that vert and just sort of make sure it will sort of snap once you pull it far enough right to that center line. There we go, doing something over there. So you can see I've just filled in my case just a few little kind of paired up faces just to kind of fill in that space in between the legs there. So actually I'm going to even continue. I don't need to be too fussy with this there. Maybe even over here, same thing. Just kind of working my way up on both the front and back. And over here is where I'm going to start to think about pulls, because again, I could start to go here, but now I'm starting to get that kind of typical, you know, the thing I showed in class where we're starting to get more of a trapezoid and a rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead to something like this, and then kind of cross right here. And I'm doing typically tweaking, pushing things around. I'm going to do the same thing in the front here. Again, rather than do a single face, now I'm going to split this into two, like that. Sort of pull that up a little bit. I'm going to kind of look my way around right here. And sort of do a sort of whole kind of face loop, partial face loop right through there. I'm going to do this trick where I can pop that in, and then I can kind of quickly use the patches tool to fill these things in. So hopefully you can start to see how start to attach the two legs together. Let's see here. Now I'm going to go ahead back to my pen, and I'll sort of pull that up a little bit like that. And I'm going to do a sort of similar trick where you see I'm sort of like intersperse sort of individual periodic faces, anticipating that I'm going to use the patches tool afterwards to quickly fill in the chunks afterwards. There we Go, go, go. Okay. And then you can see I can now got just a nice loop that I can kind of continue straight up the torso. Okay. So I can even see if that'll work. If I can go back to contours, I can try this out. Select all that, go to front view, try something like that, and you can start to see how that works nicely. Again, I may need to do some relaxing afterwards to get that all to work, but now you can see I can go up. So now there are kind of more sophisticated ways you could deal with the contours and forms of a torso. You can really start to think about following the rib cage and the chest and so on. I may actually do that a little bit right here with the chest. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to hit A to deselect, and I'm going to go ahead and do some nice relaxing to sort of like get all that stuff nicely distributed. You can see sort of like separated, smooth, trying to get that kind of stuff a little bit more. Increase my size a little bit. There we go. Run it all over everything, just to get that nicely tidied up. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try and wrap this up fairly quickly. The only other thing I was thinking I'm going to show right now is sort of working on the chest into the shoulders area. And this, I think, is a situation where I'm going to follow the pectorals. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do a poly pen, and I'm going to, you can see, just start to create like a strip that sort of like follows the pectorals. Yep, something like that. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of following the bottom. I'm also at the same time trying to sort of match up like you've seen me do before, so to anticipate filling in the space in between. So let's see here. Start to fill in some of this stuff. Now over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to kind of like go up and over, and then sort of around. Pulling these around, grab this, and to get something like that. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here to kind of create this nice sort of like flow across the pectoral, up and over, and then sort of down to start to connect with the arm there. And if I wanted to, I could start to think about like a hole right here, perhaps. Here. And this, I'm kind of at this point, I'm kind of fudging it, but I don't really need to, get too heavy into very fancy topology here. Just a reminder that we're not actually going to be animating or rigging or animating these characters. So if you could kind of like can fill in this whole space with all quads, ideally, that'll do it. Something like that. I can do a similar kind of thing in the back here if I want to sort of like kind of have the flow of the arms kind of flow into the upper back. Go back to the poly pen. Maybe I'll just start grabbing this little thing. Kind of like, you see, sort of just go up and over a little bit. And start to have it flow sort of across the back, something like that. I may not have the right number of faces yet, but I can always change the number of edge loops with the loops tool. Maybe I'll just do that right now. Make an extra loop right there. Maybe need another one right there, and so on. And then I'll just start to fill in the spaces. So again, a very fast, somewhat incomplete idea, but hopefully this just gives you an idea of the kind of approach and the scope of doing the retopo for your mannequins.